Hello, hello. So just wait, guys, if you guys have joined. I am just testing the mic for now, and we'll be starting in a minute soon. Hello, ऑफिस में क्यों क्या हुआ? ओके, अभी मैं लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग कर रहा हूँ, रखता हूँ मैं। पहुँचोगे तो कॉल करना, ठीक है? Bye. So I've seen one person is joining. Just give me a minute and we'll be starting. ओके, अभी मैं लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग कर रहा हूँ, रखता हूँ मैं। पहुँचोगे तो कॉल करना, ठीक है? So I've seen one person is joined. Just give me a minute and we'll be starting. ओके, अभी मैं लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग कर रहा हूँ, रखता हूँ मैं। पहुँचोगे तो कॉल करना, ठीक है? Hello. Okay, so we'll be starting today. As you might have seen, the topic for today is is 25 questions that brides have about how to choose the right makeup artist. So the very first question we'll be going through today is, just give me a second and also open the question so you guys can have a look anytime that you're joining us. Alright. So the very first question we'll be going on through today is, how do I search for makeup artist on Instagram effectively? Okay. So searching for a makeup artist is difficult, and I agree with you guys. Also, from quite some time since Instagram has become popular, we have been just looking at Instagram for making sure that we select the right makeup artist. But how effective is that? That is something which is in question. Because on Instagram, the only thing you can see is photos and videos. But have you ever seen any photos or videos which were completely raw and unfiltered? Rarely. And that is what matters the most. Because with good photo editing, any makeup can be made looking like your dream makeup. But when you see that in reality, that shatters all the dreams you have about your wedding. To make sure that this doesn't happen with you, I would highly recommend you to leave Instagram and look at other places to make sure you're selecting the right artist. And a very effective way can also be avoiding online platforms completely. You can do it to search people, but you should never use that to select the person who is going to do your wedding makeup. according to me. This will expand in the second question today, which is, should I trust Instagram portfolios or do I need to see work elsewhere? Not just trusting Instagram portfolios is something which is in question, but the whole online platform. Because photo and video editing and editors इतने भरे पड़े हैं and इतने सारे हैं that if you show it to them as well, a work of a different artist, it would be very difficult for them with AI coming in these days as well. It almost becomes impossible to figure out the difference between what's the real makeup and what's something which is edited, even for professionals. So, as a bride who is going to take the makeup service for the very first time and last time for a lot of you, this can be a very tricky part, for which I'll provide you a solution later on. Now, moving on to the third question is, how can I tell their Instagram work is heavily filtered or edited? This might sound pretty odd, but if you're able to make flaws in someone's Instagram profile portfolios of the makeup that they have done, you should definitely reach out to them because they have at least the courage to share the mistakes and the real effect of what makeup does. A lot of people have quite misunderstanding about makeup being makeup. If we do makeup, all the skin textures and pigmentations and every flaw that existed from your childhood will vanish away. Now that's a complete red flag. Makeup doesn't make any of the textures go away. It just hides the pigmentation, all the discoloration stuff. Because at the end of the day, it is also a wax product of skin color. You are painting something. You are not creating a complete architecture with all the hard tools like doing a complete facial surgery with all the knives and stuff. So it won't be making your texture go away. Texture cannot be cured by makeup. It can be helped using skincare or skin treatments. And majority for us brides, we work somewhere in the corporate profession where getting all the skin treatments and skincare is not something which is required or the quintessential for our career. So we should always make sure that this is not happening and we are not setting unrealistic expectations from Instagram work or filters. Also, a lot of time the photos you see is not of the real brides but of models. Now, with models, the problem being their whole career is dependent how this thing looks. And with that being said, they can go under any kind of treatment, skin and face enhancement. Now that is their choice, and that's what their career also requires. It's simple to having. If you're becoming a lawyer, you have to study. You have to know all kinds of law stuff. And if you're becoming an engineer or like in a particular profession like a civil engineer or something, you have to make sure that you know about all the chemical materials that are used to make a proper structure, else there is no point. So similar goes for models as well. I can completely understand why they might be going through this because the whole society has made them go through this. It's us for making them go through this. They don't want to. Actually, no one wants to. So the thing over here is the third question, which is, how can I tell the Instagram is heavily filtered photos or edited? They are, and it's absolutely difficult. So don't get into figuring that things out. Instead, do the opposite, which is look for Instagram profiles where you can see a bit of flaws, a mole here and there, or something where you can see a bit of texture even through the makeup is done and that has been posted on. Because these days being authentic and being real is the luxury and the highest courage attitude that people need to show on Instagram, which is showing reality. Do I see a before and after photos or final looks are enough? So, looking at the before and after photo would help a lot, much more than seeing the heavily filtered photo. But there is a catch to that. First of all, I feel the before photos which people take, they either don't, like, the very first thing is that's a private photo and people shouldn't show that, because generally the before photo when people take, they show all, like, all the flaws and everything which was looking before is shown, and a lot of girls and brides feel insecure about how they were looking before the makeup, and making that public and showing the before and after photo to dozens of people and posting it online when a person doesn't wants to, that is something where you are breaching privacy of a person or going against a person's comfort zone. So that is not something I would recommend. You should stop asking that as well, and you should make sure that no makeup artist is posting that on social media. And if they are, you have to make sure that the person is informed and it is consent based. Although I still don't recommend that, because those can be taken from online platform and then all the multiple stuff which we all don't want to go through. Most of you have got what I wanted to say. And the second part about why that would not be as much effective is, even if you look at the before and after photos of a particular person, you would still not get the best idea, because the face structure that that person would be having, the eye shape they would be having, for example, the jawline, or how chubby or how thin their skin would be on the face, the structure, face structure that they would be having, as the things I talked about. Also, how their skin conditions, and have they gone through any dermatological treatment recently or skin care as such they have done. All those things comes into play. And with those variables coming in, what kind of wedding are they doing, indoor, outdoor, all these stuff, every environmental stuff affects the makeup. So that's what we need to understand. Just looking at the before and after photos won't solve your purpose. And our final looks enough? Absolutely no. Because as we said or discussed earlier, it's heavily edited. How important is it that the artist posts work on clients with skin tone? My skin tone. See, skin tone is something which is just one checkpoint about how the makeup might look on you. It still wouldn't give you a complete idea. Although, if you doing quite the opposite over here as well, if you can see a makeup artist is only posting photos about fair skin tone and all the brides looking like a model and picture perfect brides as such, without a, any one hair strand going over here and there. That makeup artist is trying to sell you a perception, or trying to sell you something which is unrealistic. That all my brides are picture perfect. That is never the case at all. So instead, if you see that the profile has some of varied skin tones and some of flaws visible in their makeup portfolios, and that is also being shown publicly. So that is something that you can trust more compared to the person who have just fair skin tone all the long. What should I look for in the makeup style to know if it matches what I want? This is the correct question. What should you look in the makeup style? Just looking at the makeup style can give you an idea of how it's going to be, but getting connected to the artist on call or in DM and seeing how open they are to the customization and specific wedding functions and the timelines that you have decided and made, how open they are to adjusting, or are they completely adjusting, or not giving any form of suggestions, or they only giving suggestions. So both the parts are not right. Somewhere in the between is the sweet spot that you should always be aiming for and looking for in the makeup artist that you will be selecting. How do I know if an artist can do natural and minimal makeup and the Instagram shows mostly glam? Correct question. So I'm loving questions from six onwards because they are asking the right doubts that people have. So again, Instagram is not the place where you'll be deciding an artist. You can message or call them. That is just a place to get the contact of people who does that particular work. Okay, that's the only advantage of using that platform. Apart from that, there is no advantage. Even if the person has 10,000 or 1 lakh followers, that person can also ruin your wedding day makeup. Let me be very clear with that. And a person with 3 to 10 followers can also do the best makeup that your dream makeup that you might have imagined. Because a lot of time people get stuck with this is what I will do once they reach a certain level of followers and stuff. That's what Instagram generally ingrains in you. Is majority of the people wouldn't mind doing the makeup. Should I be concerned if most of their photo features models instead of real life? Absolutely, you should be concerned because what they are trying to sell you is not realistic at all. Models keep on doing treatments and skincare stuff all along. That's what they are. That's what their profession requires them to do. And real brides don't have that kind of skin conditions, and the makeup wouldn't be as close as flawless as you can see on a model. It's like saying you can do a surgery better than a doctor. Can we really? How recently should their posted work be considered for them to be considered? This is not a question. What red flag should I watch for an Instagram content or caption? Okay. So, what red flag should I watch for their Instagram content and captions? If red flags is what you are looking for, the whole Instagram thing, the whole Instagram is a big red flag. Although it has a purple color theme, it's a red flag. All the posts and everything you might be seeing, unless you have some complete raw and undisturbed imagery, you have to make sure that that's what works. If you can't see flaws, if you can't see multiple skin tones, multiple textures in the photos that they have updated, chances are they are just promoting a perfection that is impossible to achieve with this kind of skin real brides have. Okay, this is a good part, communication and booking process. So, how responsive should a makeup artist be to Instagram DMs or initial queries? So, there is a saying, if you contact the lead in the first 30 seconds to 1 minute, that's quite too early because people are busy as well. But in an hour or so you should at least get, at least on the same day, you should get some response from the person. If you're not getting that, either the person has too much of work or they are not that active on the platform, and that's something you should initially look for. Also, how responsive, like how early that person should contact, should also match with the earliness and what's the first thing that they utter out of their Instagram DM or the text. What does that initial text say? Are they asking you questions about how, what's the date, what's the timing, how the function is, or are they just directly moving on to the, this is the price we will be charging, if do you have this budget or not? If that is the very first thing that they are asking, they are completely inexperienced and they want to get the order rather than serving or solving your problem. Is it normal for an artist to require a deposit before offering a trial? Asking for a deposit is not that much required, although some artists do this as a trick to make sure that if you are taking a trial, you are booking with them. So that also shows some sort of lack of confidence in the skill that they have. Because if you don't have deposits, you might not choose them. That's what I take out of it. Although some amount of pay, like 500 to 1000 rupees to 1500, is absolutely normal to take because the person is traveling from, the person is taking time out to provide you the makeup look. However, they might be doing the full face look or half face look. Any which ways, if they are providing you the trial, they are investing time and product on. So asking for a certain deposit on an amount is essential for, uh, should I book a makeup artist without doing a trial first? If you want to go to Khatro Ke Khiladi, then definitely you can give it a try. Apart from that, and if you're okay with getting your wedding makeup turned into a disaster, thumbs up, go ahead. But if that's not you, then you should definitely book a trial with the makeup artist because you'll be able to see how they communicate, how open or comfortable, how interesting they are, and a lot of other things that I can't cover specifically in this video. But getting a trial is a no brainer. It's an absolute thing that you should do, and would probably be the best decision you have taken in your life. Okay, so hmm, what question should I ask before signing the contract? Or how far in advance should I book, and what if my preferred artist is already booked? So 6 to 8 months before the wedding, once your is the ideal time that you should be booking. But the, if you are sure that you want to go ahead with this with one particular artist you have in mind, then make sure as soon as your wedding hall and wedding date is fixed, the first thing you do is book your makeup artist. Post that, because if you have the date, if you have the location fixed, then you're definitely getting married. So booking a makeup artist early on gives you better rates and also gives you the choice of selecting the makeup artist of your choice rather than later on compromising with a makeup artist you don't really want to go, but you don't have any choice because without makeup you'll most certainly not come out for the wedding. So that's something you should do ASAP. What question should I ask before signing the contract? So you should have a written detail of all the things that they will be providing before signing the contract. Also, what are their pay terms? what would be the duration or installment type, or they'll be taking full amount up front or taking full amount later in their wedding. Every people have different ways of charging, so you have to ask all these stuff beforehand. The pricing part is something that you need to take care of. When you'll be taking they'll be taking the payments is something you need to take care of. What things they'll be providing, what would be their arrival time, um, and what are the precautions they'll be taking. All these things need to be discussed before signing the contract with the people. So it's 25 minutes today, and that's what I will be. So thank you everyone. We end the stream for today. Hope to see you soon.